What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Franchise Empire newsletter. Today we've got a great one for you, and what we are going to cover. By the way, thanks for your patience. I was a few minutes late here. I'm just back in the office after traveling for 3 weeks, and my tech setup wasn't fully prepared. All right, so today we're going to cover number one, a resale with 2.9 million in sales and recurring revenue. This is a hot opportunity, in my opinion. We'll talk about Popeyes. So we'll talk about how Popeyes went from a flop to a fried chicken empire. If you're curious about how they got their start, became successful, how much money their locations make, cost to get open, we're going to talk about some of those things today. We'll talk about Mike's leap into owning a franchise, and then we'll tell you about the two videos that we had go live on the Franchise Empire channel. If you're new here and you're just watching this, my name is Tarek Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Franchise Empire. Typically, I've got our head of brokerage, Mark, here, but Mark is out of the office today, traveling and enjoying some time off. So you guys are stuck with me today. And I need a haircut. So I got my Franchise Empire hat on to cover up the sad thinning of hair that is happening on the top of my head. Genetics. It is what it is. All right, let me play this for you real quick, and then we'll jump right in. All right, sweet. Let's rock and roll. If you guys are watching the replay, drop me a comment. Let me know that you're watching the replay. For those of you who are here live, drop me a comment. Let me know what city and state you are tuning in from. And by the way, that's what a funny username. It's actually one of my favorite words. Yo. I say it a lot. Maybe not so much in a professional context, but I do. Send me an email. Send an email to info@franchiseempire.com. I'm in Orlando, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. Yo. All right, let's jump in. So, featured resale. Let's talk about this bad boy. So, number one, it's confidential. Those of you who've been watching the newsletter, you know that we're getting access to more and more confidential resale opportunities. Actually, this is hot off the press too. This is not the resale that we're talking about, but I just got an email. I just got a message from someone on my team that we have, we're working with a client in San Antonio, Texas that has a franchise that they want to sell that's doing $9 million in sales. $9 million in sales. So if anyone's in Texas or San Antonio and you are interested in a resale, you can shoot us an email too, info@franchiseempire.com. I mean, yeah, 9 million in sales. That's pretty crazy. You're going to have to be a well-qualified buyer for that. I would imagine the purchase price is going to be in the millions. Yeah, that's going to have to be the purchase price is going to be in the millions. All right, let's talk about this resale though. Okay, so confidential. It's in Northeast Pennsylvania, and so if you're interested in the name of the brand and learning more about this resale, I'll drop the link to where you guys will go to inquire about this. That's right there. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. So it's in the senior care industry. Started in 2015. The owner is retiring, and they have 70 employees. That is wild. 70 employees is a lot of. It's a lot of employees. These are my favorite types of resales right here. This part, owner is retiring. You know, there's a lot of people that go, why would someone that approach resales with this skepticism? Why would someone sell a business if it's making money? I always think it's the weirdest question to ask, because think about it. Why do you sell a car that still runs fine? Why do you leave a job that you're making good money in? Why do you sell a house that's still a nice house? Like, It's such a stupid question, honestly. Um, Now, to find out, to want to know the motivation of why someone's selling, to make sure that you're not just getting pawned off with, something that's a sinking ship or a falling knife. Okay, I get that. But if you don't understand the logic that people's situations change, some people might start a business after a couple of years are like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like running a business is similar in having a job in that just because you run a business for the last 3 or 4 years doesn't mean you won't want to sell it and do something different. Like sometimes people just get bored. So there are some people that are great at starting businesses, getting them up and running, and then they don't want to deal with it from there. And so they'll sell it and then they'll do the next thing. Anyways, that's not the case here. The owner had this business for 10 years. They're likely coming upon their franchise term renewal because most franchise agreements are 10-year terms. And it says that they want to retire. There are some great opportunities when people say that they're retiring, by the way. We've found some of our best resales for clients in these situations. Anyway, 70 employees, prime territory, asking price of $749,000. There's about $100,000 of furniture, fixture, and equipment included in sales price. 3 offices, of course, you'll need to take over those leases, and 7 vehicles are included in the sales price. Their 2024 revenue for this resale was $2.9 million. Given this is in senior care, right, and helping place caregivers, it's recurring revenue. I mean, someone could need your service for years at a time. I don't know what the average client term is, but yeah, I mean, if they need the service, they continue to pay unless you piss them off and they go somewhere else. All right, so our take: senior care, high demand industry, right? This is a rising tide. You know that phrase, rising tides lift all boats. Senior care is a rising tide. There's a lot of data behind all of the individuals turning 65 every single day. And so there's a lot of opportunity here. And this specific resale, this is a great opportunity for a full-time owner. Full-time owner. You got strong management and leadership experience, and you've got some solid financials to hit the ground running and take over an already well-performing business that has a lot of room to grow. So full-time owner, guys. For those people out there thinking, oh, wow, this business is already up and running. Let me come in and be part-time in the business. Stay away, guys. This is a moving train. This is what I call a moving train, right? You've got to step onto this train that has 70 people on board, right? That the speed is moving at, let's call it just over $200,000 a month in sales. And you've got to be able to drive the train and already know how to drive the train, right? So if you don't have leadership experience, if you don't have management experience, and if you're trying to come in and do this and say, hey, I want to work part-time in the business, this is not for you. My recommendation always is with a resale, especially like this, your plan should be to go all in the first 12 to 15 months. Now, after that, once you've learned the business, the business inside and out, then you want to hire a manager to take over majority of the day-to-day operations while you still oversee the business and provide the leadership and the vision. Great. That's who I think that this is a good opportunity for. And guys, the reality is, like, all of the most successful entrepreneurs that I know, they all are full-time in their business. I know there's a lot of people selling the dream of like part-time business ownership and passive income. And unless you're an experienced entrepreneur or you have a manager that has a profit share or is an operating partner, it's hard to pull that off over a long period of time. Anyways, so if you're in the northeastern Pennsylvania area and you want to learn, number 1, what's the name of this brand? Number 2, where exactly is it located? Number 3, you want to see more of the financials. then go to franchiseempire.com/resales, and we can get you connected and access to that information that you'd want to see. But if you're thinking, hey, I'm not in Northeast Pennsylvania and I do not want to relocate there for, a business resale, then you can still go to franchiseempire.com/resales, because we have a list of over 100 and growing by the day resale opportunities throughout the US and Canada. And so we can have a conversation with you, kind of understand a little bit more about your goals, where you're located, and see if we have anything in that area. Again, hot off the press, we have we have someone that we connected with that they're looking to sell their $9 million a year franchise business in Texas. So if you're in Texas, holler. Okay, let's celebrate a new franchise owner that we help here at Franchise Empire. Look, at the end of the day, the reason why we're in this business and we make this content is our intention is to help people like you become successful business owners. That's it. Like, my belief is that there are, well, number one, it's just facts. The reality is that the majority of businesses that start fail, especially after a 5-year period of time. And realistically, for many of us, owning a franchise is probably our only realistic path of actually starting the business enterprise that we want to start. Like, most people aren't going to go out and start it from scratch. And but then the downside of that is that every day people buy franchises that are terrible, that don't have a proven track record of making money, and are not great opportunities. So we like to celebrate the real people that we're helping here at Franchise Empire. And I don't know, maybe you can see a little bit of yourself in them, right? Or in their story. So Mike came to us with a clear vision, years of experience as a grocery store and restaurant general manager. He's looking for a business that aligned with his background, and one that his wife could operate full-time, drawing on her experience in the pet industry. And they were exploring ideas that would grow, that could grow alongside their local community in Ohio, which is seeing some exciting development. After digging in a few industries, they found the perfect fit. Well, they found the perfect fit through our team and our process. So Laura on our team is one of our franchise brokers. Laura has been an award-winning multi-unit franchisee, something that all of our brokers on our team, as of today, it's one of the things that separates us. Every single broker on our team has experience owning franchises. Chris is the exception. He was a franchisor. He started a franchise brand from scratch, had franchisees, him and his wife. So they've been there, done that. And so Laura was able to understand their needs, their goals, get to know them, what's important, financial situation, presented, 5, 6, 7, 8 different brands to them. And through the due diligence process, that's what they landed on. I didn't even know at the time, guys, that there was a butcher franchise. I didn't even know. That's what's so cool about, having a team of experts that we do. They're constantly, our team's constantly finding and bringing brands that meet our criteria. And then our brokerage team has meetings where they teach each other and tell each other about these different brands that they've found. So it's pretty cool. So we're always looking for great opportunities that can help our clients, find a business that matches with their goals and puts them in a great position to win. So just a really unique opportunity. So congratulations, Mike, and to your wife as well. I don't see her name on here, but it looks like you were saying you wanted to buy to have your wife to run. So congratulations to you guys. We are certainly rooting for you and wishing you a lot of success here at Franchise Empire. All right, let's talk about Franchise of the Week. Franchise of the Week. We got Popeyes. Good old Popeyes. By the way, y'all, if you want to be able to look at this whole breakdown, I'll drop the link here for you. Why is it not pasting? There we go. We put all of these on our website after we send them out at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. But you can also make sure to go to, franchiseempire.com/newsletter. I'll drop that at the bottom. Here you go. franchiseempire.com /newsletter to make sure that you get these emails in your inbox with all of this on Sunday morning, so you can review it at your leisure. All right, let's talk about Popeyes. So Popeyes was not always a hit. Back in 1972, a man named Al Copeland opened a small chicken shop in a town just outside New Orleans. He called it Chicken on the Run. Interesting. His goal was to compete with KFC by serving Southern-styled fried chicken. But it did not work. I'm curious. This is the first time I'm reading this, by the way. Our team puts this together. So yeah, I'm getting this hot off the press. I actually think I might have made a video about Popeyes though, but I make so much content, it's hard to remember all of the specifics. All right, so people thought that the chicken was too bland. Sales were low, and within a few months, the shop had to shut down. But Al didn't wait long to try again. Just 4 days later, he reopened the restaurant, this time with a new name and a bold new plan. He called it Popeyes, named after the movie character Popeye Doyle from The French Connection. He also changed the recipe, adding spicy Cajun flavors inspired by the food he grew up with in Louisiana. That twist changed everything. Okay, these stories are so fascinating to me because it's so easy to give up. You may have an idea, you got to start it, it doesn't work out, you get discouraged and you just go, all right, well, time to go back, get a job, or, it didn't work. I guess, guess it wasn't in the cards. For me personally, after 9 failed businesses before owning my own franchise, I started to question my purpose, guys. I started to question is like, am I really even meant to be an entrepreneur? Like, do I even have what it takes? I'm really glad I didn't quit because I almost did. I almost thought I was destined to not be an entrepreneur. Really crazy to think about it. It makes me emotional just thinking about it, even to this day, how close I was to giving up on my entrepreneurial goals. That was about 10 years ago now. So how crazy is this? Popeyes with, I'm pretty sure they have over 1,000 locations. The original concept closed down. Pivoting is powerful. All right, so what happened then? By 1976, just 4 years later, Popeyes started franchising. So they must have been producing enough success to say, hey, let's franchise it. The first location, franchise location, opened in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the growth didn't stop there. They hit 500 restaurants by 1985 and went international in the 80s and eventually grew to over 4,000 locations worldwide. But here's something that most people don't know. For 23 years, Popeyes didn't even own the recipe for their famous spice mix. They had to license it from another company until they finally bought it back in 2014 for $43 million. They didn't own the recipe for the spice mix. That's crazy. Imagine that. You create a company that's just a spice mix, and you start selling it to Popeyes when Popeyes is nothing. And they keep, wow, I'm surprised that was the, I think there's a little bit of a difference. I think there's more context to the story. I'm going to find it out. I remember something from when I recorded this video breaking down Popeyes. Did we put that one out yet? I don't think we did. I'm going to see if I can find the video that we created. I don't think we posted it yet. Anyways, today Popeyes is part of the same family as Burger King and Tim Hortons under Restaurant Brands International, and they've still focused on what made them special: bold flavors, unique Southern menu, and a franchise model built to scale. So let's take a look at some of the numbers. Franchise units: 2,854 franchise freestanding and inline Popeyes restaurants in operations. Franchise fees $50,000. Marketing fees 4%, royalties 5%. For an inline unit, right? So you're in a shopping center next to other locations, other stores. those are between 500 grand and 1.9 million to get open. And then freestanding are always more expensive, 1.2 to 4 million to get open. Minimum net worth requirement is $1 million. Minimum liquid capital required is 500 grand. And of course, Mark and I have talked about this, in the food business, you don't get into the food business to own one. You typically are probably not going to make much owning one location, and you have no redundancy or kind of just efficiency overall with owning one. In Mark's case, Mark used to own 13 Five Guys, right? So it helps when you own a bunch of them. And again, the food business has really low profit margins. I'm speaking from experience. The franchise term is 20 years, which is a good bit. A lot of franchise terms are 10 years. This probably plays into the favor of franchisees, because a lot of the times there may be at renewal. If you renew the agreement, you have to remodel, and it costs a lot of money. So a lot of times franchisees will sell before they have to put the money into remodeling. I know Mark mentioned on our last newsletter that he did that when he sold his 13 locations. And when you're spending this much money to a lot of times these guys are doing what's called a ground lease, where what you're doing is you're leasing just the dirt from the landlord. So you don't own the land. You lease the land, and then you actually build the building yourself. And in that case, in order for the numbers to work financially, it needs to be over a longer period of time. We're not going to talk about ideal franchise candidate. Let's talk about some of their numbers, though, y'all. So this is for freestanding restaurants. And keep in mind, freestanding restaurants, if we go back up here, they cost basically double. The low end is just over double of inline. And same deal. The high end of freestanding is about double of the highest of inline. So let's see how sales compare. Sales volume. That's what I'd be interested in. Something called the sales to investment ratio. It's something that you guys have probably heard me talk about a lot if you've watched some of my content and our content for a bit. I actually have a whole video we made on sales to investment ratio. I'm trying to see if I can find the link, and I'll drop it down for you guys if you want to check that out. Okay, so these are the freestanding locations, right? So company owned average. Let me see here if I can get this this marker up. Yeah, here we go. All right, company owned 1.8 million. How do I make this smaller? Oh, size. Okay, here we go. Company owned 1.8 million. The franchise restaurants produce more sales than the company owned ones, which is interesting to me. And so 1.8 million, 1.9 million. So from a sales to investment ratio standpoint, that is not even really 1-to-1. That is not very exciting. The high performing locations, 3.2 million. And for the franchise one, 6.1 million. Low performing location, 255,000 for the franchise locations, 872 for corporate. Guys, an average of 2 million. I mean, if I'm on average having to pay, what's the average of 1.2 and 3.9? So it's basically just over 4 million. So that's basically like a 1-to-1 sales to investment ratio. It's like a 0.8, 0.9. Not very good in my opinion, especially when you look at what's needed for sales to investment ratio to really make an investment worthwhile. Now, if we look at inline, guys, inline franchise restaurants. So this is the point that I'm talking about here. This right here can save or make your investment. Save or make your investment when buying a franchise. The sales to investment ratio. So if we look here, the inline franchise restaurants basically have almost the same average sales as freestanding locations, 1.907 million, right? And let's take a look back at freestanding, 1.978. So on average, they do the freestanding do about $70,000 more in sales on average, but they cost twice as much to get open. Twice as much to get open, guys. Isn't that crazy? So all day, I would like, if I were opening a Popeyes, I would not open a freestanding. I meant to do red here. I would not open a freestanding. And if I were going to open a Popeyes, I would do the inline. Why? Because that's what the numbers say. Why would you spend twice as much money for the basically the same average sales? And again, freestanding locations, the highest location 6.1 million. Inline, the highest location 5.9 million. Not that far off. Very fascinating. This is why I make these videos. I have entertained myself. I've entertained myself in this stat. I think it's so interesting. All right, so that's it. That's Popeyes, guys. And you may be thinking, well, I don't want to spend $1 million or $2 million on a Popeyes, but I am interested in knowing, number one, what are the really good lower cost franchises? When I say lower cost, let's say that are $300,000 and less to get up and open. And specifically, what ones are available in my area where I live, where I'd want to open it, meaning where you would want to open it. And are there ones that align with your skill sets and your financial goals that you believe, could help you achieve your entrepreneurial goals? And if that's a question that you want to seriously entertain the answer to, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. And through that process, you'll be able to schedule a free call with our team and go through a process of like, hey, us learning, what are your goals? Like, what are your goals? What are you optimizing for? What are you looking to accomplish? What are your skill sets? Then we bring you back a bunch of different brands that match your criteria, and then see if it's the right fit. A lot of the people, I say half of the people that we work with, they're still not sure if they even want to buy a franchise. They don't know. And it makes sense. Here's why it makes sense. Because it is almost impossible to know if you want to buy a franchise until you actually, not if you want to buy, but if buying the right if buying a franchise is the right next move for you, until you actually start talking to brands and learning more about their numbers, the business model, and talking to franchisees. Up until that point, if you're just like browsing around online, you could be browsing for years. You're just not going to know. The analogy that I use is like you're going, all right, I want to buy a house. I think I want to buy a house. You're sitting outside on the curb, right? Take this imaginary step with me. You're sitting outside on the curb. You're standing next to your realtor. You're looking at this house from the outside, and you're going, hey, do we want to buy this house? And the realtor's looking at you like, I mean, I don't know. Do you? You haven't even gone into the house yet. How would you know if you want to buy it? You haven't even looked at it. And that's how it works with franchises. Like you don't know. There's no way to know if buying the franchise is the right move for you until you actually start the due diligence process. So hopefully that analogy landed. That's one of my more favorite ones. All right. Let's keep it rocking and rolling. So the content that went out this week, we have a whole video breaking down Taco Bell. So if you guys find these interesting, you see what I did here with the Popeyes one. If you find these little clips interesting, every week now we're putting out a video that covers the same information, but with more production value. So this is it right here. The same things, how much they cost, what are the startup costs, what's the background story. So if you want to check out that video, go ahead and click that link. It's on the Franchise Empire YouTube channel, and make sure to go subscribe there. That's where we put all of the franchise specific content, and we've started to diversify the sort of make different content on the Tarek Johnson channel. Really make that more about my personal brand and some of what we're building at Franchise Empire. That's one. Number two is WingStop. Is WingStop a good investment? So that's the second video that we did there. So we're talking about some of your favorite brands that you probably see every day, and you drive by them with that thought in the back of your head, like, I wonder how much those make. I wonder how much those cost to get open. I wonder how they became as big as they did and do. Those are the exact questions that we're answering in those videos. So with that said, we're all wrapped up for today. Thanks for tuning in and watching. If you found this interesting, share it with someone you know who you think that they would find it interesting. We'll be back with Mark next week. Yeah, Mark's back in town next week. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. See y'all next time. Peace out.